Is the Samsung Galaxy S8 worth buying in 2021? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. Hey everybody, this is Andre here covering for Kevin on the Kevin Breeze channel, and today we're gonna be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S8. These days, you can get the phone factory unlocked for GSM carriers. For more information on price and availability, be sure to check the link in the description. This phone is a flagship phone that was released in April of 2017, but is it still worth buying in 2021? Well, we're about to find out. This phone comes with a 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1440p and a PPI of 570. The aspect ratio is 18.5 by 9 and it has a screen-to-body ratio of 83.6%. Now this phone has an 8-megapixel front-facing camera and a 2-megapixel iris scanner. The iris scanner is definitely a unique feature that I always thought was really cool. I personally don't use it a whole lot, but it's really nice to have. In addition to that, the front-facing camera is pretty good. In comparison, a brand new phone that you can get for a similar price to what this phone is going for today is going to have around 5 megapixels for the front-facing camera, and I can definitely say that is a significant difference. This phone has 64 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD expansion. In comparison, most entry-level smartphones in this current price range are going to start out around 32 gigabytes, which is half the storage of this one. To give you an idea of what this looks like, I currently have everything that I use on a daily basis on this phone, and it's taking up 16.7 gigabytes. The phone currently has 47.3 gigabytes available, which is actually equal to the entire storage of some of those entry-level smartphones that start out at 32. In fact, it's actually quite a bit more. Of course, if you're just using a phone for basic activities like calling and texting and sending pictures, then it's not going to make a huge difference. But if you're doing anything else, whether it's taking photos, running large apps, browsing the web, it's definitely going to add up fast, and it's really good to have that extra 32 gigabytes of storage, and that's a good strength for this phone. Now, this phone does have wireless charging as well as a fingerprint scanner. I don't like where this fingerprint scanner is at all. This phone was made during a weird time where Samsung didn't quite have its design figured out, it seems, and they put the fingerprint scanner right next to the camera. Now, personally, I think it's really easy to accidentally put your finger on the camera, which is really irritating because then when you go to take a picture, it gets all blurry with a fingerprint. It's just not good, but let's see how it runs. It's nice and fast. Let's give it one more try. As you can see, it's very fast and responsive. The only thing, again, is just that placement. I really don't know why they put it there. It's not logical or convenient at all. I mean, when I'm holding my phone, my finger's not going to rest here. I have to go out of my way to move it like that. Whereas if the fingerprint scanner was right here, then it would be a lot easier to use. Not only that, but you wouldn't have to look twice to avoid putting your finger on your camera lens either. Nowadays, most phones do have their fingerprint scanner right here. So that is one drawback for this phone that is an advantage for the more entry-level brand new phones nowadays. The fingerprint scanner is in a more convenient and logical spot, but it's not really that big a deal, especially considering that this phone not only has face unlock, but it also has an iris scanner. There are many different ways to open the phone. I definitely wouldn't say I would choose to get this phone or choose not to get it based on where its fingerprint scanner is, but it's something that's a little quirky and kind of annoying about the phone that you should definitely keep in mind. We do have only one camera and it's 12 megapixels. Now it's a little bit disappointing that there's no ultra wide camera on here. Most brand new phones in 2021, even the very entry level ones, do have an ultra wide camera. So even if it wasn't a very high quality one, it would be nice to at least have an ultra wide camera on the phone. Taking a look at the camera of the phone, this is our normal camera mode right here. This camera does have portrait mode and you can access that with selective focus right here. And this also works on the front-facing camera as well. Let's give that a try. So as you can see, this is the front-facing camera in portrait mode, and I would say it does look pretty decent. Quick test of the video mode of the camera. We are shooting in 4K right now. Also keep in mind the audio quality of the... As you can see, that was the video mode of the phone. It is able to shoot in 4K, which is really nice. In comparison to the entry-level phones at this price range, you're definitely not going to find one that's going to be able to shoot in good 4K like this. So if you're doing content creation like shooting videos, then this is definitely a plus. And of course, the audio quality was great as well. I have seen several phones of this caliber and age in the past that don't have quite as good audio quality, so that's definitely a plus. Compared to a lot of the more entry-level smartphones around this price range, you're definitely going to get a little bit more distortion from the speakers of those phones, whereas with this one, the audio was very crisp. The audio of this phone might be a little bit on the tinny side, but as far as the quality and clarity of the sound, it is very good. Now this phone has a 3000 milliamp hour battery that supports 15 watt fast charging, which is really good. You're going to be able to get a lot of battery life out of this, and the fast charging is definitely a great plus. Now one thing to keep in mind is that this phone does run on Android 9, and since it's pretty old, it's not going to be able to get updates. So if getting the latest version of Android is a concern to you, then this is probably not the device for you. Now that we've gone over some of the specs of the phone, let's take a look at the hardware. So up top here, we got the slot for the SIM card and the micro SD card, as well as right here, there's a noise canceling microphone. And then I believe this one is the iris scanner, and this right here, if you can see it, right here is the front facing camera itself. And then at the bottom here, there's a 3.5mm headphone jack, a USB-C charging port, a microphone, and then of course the speaker. On the left side, there's the volume up button, the volume down button, and of course the Bixby button. Now I'm really not a big fan of the Bixby button. I think that even if you do use Bixby, there are other ways to access it that are a lot more convenient. And for the people who don't use it, this button is just annoying and gets in the way. It's so easy to accidentally press, and if you're not used to the phone, if you're pretty new to Samsung Galaxies, then you could think it's a power button and press it and have a pretty unwelcome surprise when it doesn't work the way you would expect it to. If you do use Bixby a lot, I could definitely see how it could be convenient, but personally for me, Bixby, Google Assistant button, whatever it might be on the specific device, I personally think it's just another one of those features that they added in thinking it was going to be more convenient, and in reality, in practice, it ends up the majority of times being a lot less convenient than if it wasn't there at all. Now, if they could reprogram it to open something else when you press it, that would actually be pretty cool. But since you can't, I'm just not a big fan at all. Now on the right side of the phone, we have the power button right here. Very easy to press. And of course, on the back, we have our camera setup, our flash, and then our fingerprint scanner, which again, it's really weird that they put it here, but it does work and it's pretty fast, so I will give it that. Overall, the phone is made of a very high quality material, and holding it, you can definitely tell that it is a high-end phone. But at the same time, by 2021 standards, this phone does feel a little old. You can definitely see by the design, like with the thick bezels at the top, phones don't really have that much anymore. And just the overall shape and feel of it, when you look at it, you're not going to think this is a new phone. You're not going to get that same feel as you would with something newer, say a Samsung Galaxy A series, for example. Even though it's a great device with high performance specs, it's not going to have the same feeling as a brand new phone. Now internally, we're getting 4GB of RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor. This is definitely on the powerful side. This device is going to be able to handle a lot. So if you're just using a device for basic activities like making calls, sending text messages, maybe a little light internet browsing and content consumption, then this is definitely going to be a bit more than you need. And as far as the value goes, you're not really going to notice the difference in processing power so much, and you're probably not going to even use the features as much. But if you're doing more heavy activities like photo editing, video creation, maybe some gaming, then you're definitely going to get a lot of use and you're going to really notice that power. Now, in conclusion, is this phone worth buying in 2021? I honestly think that for the price and the features it offers, it's a great value still. Sure, it's not the newest looking phone out there, it doesn't really feel like a new phone, and it has been around for a little while. But compared to a lot of the phones on the entry-level spectrum, it's going to be outperforming those by a lot. It does have a really great camera that can take high quality photos. It might not have features like the ultra wide, which is pretty disappointing, but at the same time, the quality in general is going to be a lot better than those entry-level phones. Another great thing about this phone that has an edge over the entry-level smartphones is the storage. Most of the entry-level smartphones start out around 32GB of storage, and some of them even have a pretty small limit to how much you can expand the storage with a micro SD card. But this one starts out at 64, and unless you're doing a lot of content creation, you have a lot of photos or videos on your phone, or you run really large apps, you're probably not even going to fill up the whole internal storage itself. And even if you do, depending on the type of content you do have on the phone, there are lots of ways to avoid putting everything on your phone. So with 64 gigabytes of internal storage, this phone definitely does have an advantage over phones in a similar price range. Now, if you're looking for a phone that has all the newest features that have become standard today and want the latest version of Android and all that, then this might not be the device for you, because this is an older phone. That is something to keep in mind. This is definitely not a brand new phone. The battery life still might not be quite as powerful as a brand new phone because it has been around for a while. But if you're looking for a powerful device that's going to get the job done for you when you're making content, maybe doing some gaming, and don't want to spend more than the price of an entry-level smartphone, then this device is definitely a great option that I would say still does provide great value in 2021. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.